miniature triangle called a mini Grand Trine that brings good luck, grace, and ease. It could be ending a commitment to a job, a person. It's some kind of agreement. Chiron is the wounded healer. What part of your life is wounded? Her connection with Jupiter could only happen this way, in this particular way, once every 12 years. She acts like a Grim Reaperess. The sun is a particular story that's different than Venus. This could even bring a windfall. You might feel like you're going to ka-ching on some kind of financial windfall. Something's fracturing, something's changing, something's ending this week or next week.
Lunatic astrology.
My fellow lunatics, this is the Week Ahead Astrology by Lori Lothian, your intrepid reporter of the sky. And we're talking today about a beautiful story that starts up on February the 2nd and kind of rolls out all the way until about the 9th of the month. And this week is going to bring us into a very healing energy as we're going to experience a beautiful miniature triangle called a mini Grand Trine that brings good luck, grace, and ease. But it's also very healing and very blessed. And I'm going to describe how that might play out for your sign this week ahead. But at the same time, we also have a kind of a more difficult energy playing out at the same time, which is called a square energy, or it can be called a T-square, and it's going to open up a potential of ending something. Now, it could be ending a commitment to a job, a person. It's some kind of agreement, and often with a Juno-Jupiter combination, which this is bringing to the forefront, it might be a time to come to a closure in some kind of connection to a committed love story, to a friendship, to a person in your life. But I've also seen this Juno energy play out where people are saying, basta, enough. I'm out of this job. I'm out of this situation. I quit. I'm leaving. I'm breaking a contract. I'm breaking an agreement that I made either to myself or to somebody else. It could be both ways. So look for that this week ahead, and I'll describe it more as I show you the chart. And I say, well, this could lead to that, you knew that relationship was on the rocks and you've been trying so hard. Maybe it's time to end it. But even if you do end some kind of relationship or situation this week ahead, the very beautiful news is it's accompanied by, it's like rainbows and unicorns with a backdrop of harsh decisions and change points. So that little mini trine is extraordinarily positive. It's got some Venusian and Mercurial blessings. It's got a connection to Chironic wounds and healing that wound. And so this week ahead, we're going to draw a few stories together. We're going to thread them so you can understand the bigger picture. For example, when I'm talking about the Juno story, it's literally a story that can only reoccur in your life roughly every 5-6 years. So it's not something that's the everyday story, right? It's the story of a transiting asteroid Juno that does not travel through Capricorn every single month. So this is going to be important. Now, I'm going to say I've got super big hair. This is what happens if it air dries yesterday and I try to brush it out today. I just notice how big my hair looks. Welcome to my channel if you're new. Yes, I am your Lori Lothian astrologer chick. And we're using Western Tropical Zodiac, whole sign houses, fixed stars, minor asteroids, the whole damn deal. And if you want to time your best life in 2026, please take a look at my videos. They're literally an hour, 2 hours plus, usually 2.5 hours long for each sign. There's a 26-page PDF guidebook giving you a cheat sheet for the year ahead. And all of that information is down below in my description box. And you can purchase that yearly fundraiser product. And it's still, I extended the sale price that was in place in January. So I decided to just keep it at that price. I've been hearing feedback around people's livelihoods, struggling with money, expenses, inflation, and everything else, both in Canada, where I live, as well as the United States. So rather than make your life any more stressful, I'm going to just say, no worries. So $22 for your sign, and it's $55 for the 12 sign bundle. And that can mean you listen for sun, moon, and rising. So here's the deal. Some people, before we show you the chart, and we'll be here for about an hour and 15 minutes at the most, if you're trying to time this video, and you want to jump to your timestamps. If I've already premiered it and it's timestamps are available, please click the title of the video. When you do that, it opens up chapters, which is basically timestamps. Now, I do a courtesy of pinning those timestamps to the comments, but my YouTube manager is telling me best practices is not to do that, but to pin one of your comments to the top of the comments that is interesting. So therefore, if you can't find the timestamps in the comments because it's no longer pinned, please just click the title of the video and you'll be able to see the timestamps as well. So anyway, your sun sign is your essential core self, your identity that is spiritual. It's your spirit. and it's been around for many incarnations. It's been around for an eternity. And when it comes into the planet Earth and takes form, your sun sign is one of the sparkly flavors of God. And it literally says, I'm on the planet for a reason. So often we connect solar energy in your chart, your sun and your sun's placement to career matters, because purpose, career, extending yourself into the world in some meaningful way is often a solar story. When we talk leader, career, purpose, when we talk about your moon sign, we're kind of thinking about the mind, which is your thinking and feelings about life, but it also connects you to your home, nest, and domicile and home-related matters. And when we connect you to the ascendant, it's your simulation avatar in the game of life. This is the role you are playing in the simulation. Therefore, it's not the real you, but it's important because the character, like in a movie, right? The movie has a character, things happen to the character, and the actor, the sun, is the one who plays the role. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Listen for all three. Over time, you'll start to feel the vibe of which is connecting to you the most, okay? Now, today, we're going to show you the chart. I'm going to show you what I mean by the beautiful little trine that's showing up this week. Now, of course, a lot of you are going to say, what about the moon on February the 1st? Yes, of course. That will be on Sunday, and I've done a lunar video already that dropped on Thursday before that, on Thursday the 29th, all sign lunar video, plus some world astrology predictions. Go watch that video. It's already out. Now, let's head into the sky. And my hair is so big. Sorry, it's just driving me nuts, okay? And let me show you the chart. Okay, so what we're going to do as we sort of take a peek at the week ahead is I'm just going to let you see how, as I move the wheel of the sky, you can actually watch what happens this week ahead, and then we'll cover your sign. And here we have it. So here we have this chart pinned to Aries, which is the first sign of the zodiac in the tropical tradition. And as I take you through this week ahead, and I'll point out what I'm talking about, this is Monday, February the 2nd. And as you can see already, as we enter into Monday, that you can see a beautiful blue triangle forming, which is called a miniature Grand Trine, and brings the nature of Venus and the nature of Jupiter together. Sextiles are the nature of Jupiter, 60 degrees, that's those. And this trines are of the air signs. It is air sign Aquarius, air sign Gemini. This is the nature of Jupiter. So if you take Jupiter, luck, growth, opportunity, expansion, Venus, grace, goodness, kindness, friendship, but also just good things as well. The two good planets, fairy godmother and father, energetically are embedded within this triangle. And so this can bring a very soft, glowy, good vibe to the week ahead for each of us. On top of this soft, glowy, good vibe, it's also being activated by both Venus herself, the goddess of all good things, and Mercury, the messenger, as well. And these two planets are playing a combined role to make this beautiful story occur. And where does the triangle point to? It points to Chiron. Chiron is the wounded healer. What part of your life is wounded? What part of your reality has been wounded ever since 2019, when Chiron entered here to show you where you need to heal something? As well, at the very same time, you'll notice that there's Hygeia. She's also a goddess of healing. She's the daughter of, drum roll please, the healer, Asclepius. And in this regard, you're going to find that she can bring more healing, double down on the word healing. Now, she can be very medical healing, but she can be non-allopathic, mind, body, spirit. So we have healing and benefic Venus and also beautiful Mercury. Both of these planets are going to activate something quite beautifully flowy and healing this week ahead. Now, I did tell you about difficulty in the sky. Shall we address that? The difficulty or the challenge, but also maybe a break-free energy, who knows, is coming from the Lord Juno, Lord Jupiter and the planet, the asteroid Juno. This is husband and wife. This is Jupiter's wife, Juno, also known as Hera, Roman and Greek. Juno is in Capricorn. She entered here on December the 29th, and she leaves on March the 28th. All right. Now, all asteroids have an orbit of approximately 5 to 7 years. I can't offhand remember hers. I think it's 5. But it doesn't really matter for today's purposes, because literally her connection with Jupiter could only happen this way, in this particular way, once every 12 years. And it may not have occurred 12 years ago. And it probably did not, because Jupiter has a 12-year cycle. And let's say she has a 6-year cycle. Obviously, the two cycles are not going to dovetail together very often. So it's a rare opposition between husband and wife. At the same time, it's an archetypal energy of something that we have agreed to. I commit to you. What is that? Until death do us part, right? Vows of committedness in spousal relationships are Juno-ish. And also she's connected to money in the word moneta. She was the goddess of coinage in the ancient tradition of Rome. So coins and coinage. So you could say currencies, but we're not doing world astrology today necessarily. We're doing your astrology. So Juno and Jupiter are in this opposition. And what happens is that T square, this whole Ceres story. Ceres is like a sickle. You're going to cut something. Oh no, you don't know that? I know. Astrologers will tell you she's the mother of agriculture, and she's the goddess of the gardens that grow. And she may be connected to other feminine goddess energies, the rescuing mother of her daughter Persephone, who was abducted to the underworld. Of course, she's all of those things. But as a practitioner for the last 10 years, who's seen thousands of clients, guess what? She acts like a Grim Reaperess. All right. I've seen it over and over again where this activation brings people into wanting to sort of take a sickle or a scythe and sever something in their lives. That's how she does also operate. So I can't pretend that that's not true. So there may be this energy building up. Watch how this triangle gets stronger as the week goes on. This is only Monday. If I am talking too fast, guys, you can slow me down. Right? Because I know I do talk quickly. I had someone comment she can't follow me for some reason on one of my, I think it was my Capricorn February horoscope. And it was kind of like, I can't take it anymore. Your words are too something or other. I'm like, really? I think I'm pretty like lucidly speaking, but maybe it's too quick for some of you. So make sure that you slow me down on your computer. You can do that, right? It's free on YouTube. Put me at half speed if you need to. Now, this triangle here is the one that I want you to pay attention to. Watch the red. You can see the mini trine is beautifully forming and continuing to hold. And Venus is exactly flowing to Chiron on Wednesday, which is the most blessed of the days ahead. All right. The most beautiful, powerful of the days ahead, because that's when Venus chimes in and says, let's make this thing happen. What's the luck here? What's the goodness? What's the opportunity about? But this thing's building in the background, right? And we're not going to pay attention to the moon. Please ignore the moon. It's just too fast moving. I don't want to cover moon stuff in my week ahead astrology. It's just not my cup of tea. February the 5th is Thursday in my time zone. And you'll notice this red triangle is going to get stronger. February the 6th, February the 7th, Sunday the 8th, and the triangle is still activated. What we're looking for is when Juno is going to get to 16 degrees, and I believe that is next Monday or Tuesday. So now we have an exact opposition, right, between these guys. This is going to be next week on Thursday. And as they're opposing each other, fractures, endings, cuttings, and severings can be happening because they are still within orb of Ceres, 19 degrees, they're engaged. And this is suggesting that between the beginning of this week through till the end of next week, we're all in a 2-week window of time in which something might end, cut, sever, and fracture. And so just because it's exact on February 12th doesn't mean it happens on February the 12th. It's building up all the way from February the 2nd. And it's like the background music, you know what I mean? Or yeah, it's like the chorus background music to this beautiful, beautiful healing triangle. And I know the triangle's still here next week because after Mercury and Venus kick it into gear, then also the sun fortifies it even more. We'll be covering this next week because the sun is a particular story that's different than Venus. Now, back to where we started at the beginning of the week of February 2nd. The lunation, the moon, the full moon happened on the 1st at 13 degrees of Leo, which is Sunday. And as we move into the Monday, Tuesday, we're still feeling the new moon energy. So go watch my new moon video. You're still in a new moon vibe through to about Tuesday. So it's worth watching that video as well. Now I'm going to unpin us from Aries shortly, but we may as well start with Aries, sun, moon, and rising on February the 2nd and talk about this story. And remember, this whole Juno, the goddess of committed love and marriage, entered the Capricorn sky, or commitments and vows to agreements you've made in life, on December 29th of 2025, and will leave on Monday the 28th. On March the 28th. So December the 29th to March the 28th. So you have 3 whole months of Juno in Capricorn, and this is opposition to retrograde Jupiter. So some kind of untethering, breaking of agreements with wisdom involved is unfolding this week ahead as well as next week. So let's start off with the Aries people. Aries, and thank you, by the way, to all my new subscribers who are here. I cannot believe there are almost 8,000 new subscribers in the last 30 days. I have no idea why or how or where the universe has brought you to this channel, but I am extraordinarily grateful. I've asked you to tell me that you're new, and I'll heart you in the comments. I'm trying to read as many as I can in my comments. I've always read my comments, so I'm always a real person in the interaction with my followers. So I'm glad you're here, and hopefully you're enjoying this kind of content. So it is literally for Aries, sun and moon and rising, and I'm an Aries moon and I'm an Aries sun. So guys, I'm vibing with you. You know, I get it. It is a sky that tells us that you're going to feel extraordinarily easily graced or blessed by this beautiful triangle of healing in your identity. Now, identity is a funny word. We're going to start with the Aries rising because Chiron has been giving you an identity wound of some kind since 2019. You might have not felt right in your own skin. Some of you experienced health challenges in your, body as well, because the ascendant for you rising signs is your physical body, and you've been trying to heal your body since 2019. And this is going to be a glow up week because this is going to be a profound blessing. Something about you being you in your body and in your character, rising sign Aries, is going to feel like you just got blessed. And it can be blessings from friends, allies, benefactors, groups of belonging, or even gains in your career, or a sibling one older who wants to step in and support or help you in some way. At the same time, you're healing also all fractures and all wounds connected to siblings. Whatever sibling wound you've sustained, and I have a dear person in my life whose brother died, and I know that that's really been a harsh place for her. There's a profound energy of healing going on one way or the other in the themes of siblings. Can also be very healing for your identity and for all sun and moon. Okay, now we're moving to sun, career, moon, home, and nest. For Aries moon, there can be a profound healing regarding your neighbors, your neighborhood, your large social groups and friendship circles, and what you do in the daily life of your hood, but also maybe a healing around changing your home to a better, bigger, more beautiful home, or opportunities about that in this week ahead. But if you happen to also be an Aries sun like I am, this is also going to blow up or glow up some wounds you felt regarding your career, and it can give you some real powerful healing around influence over groups of people, writing, social media platforms. It could literally be just a glow up, like, you're doing well all of a sudden and the social media landscape's loving you, or anything to do with gains from your career and feeling really healed about the wounds you've been dealing with over the last while since 2019 about the career itself. And now getting a sense of something just all falling into place. And one of the things I love about the 11th house is I notice it engenders a sense of wistful, dreamy, forward thinking, but also gratitude in people. And so I can say that you're feeling extremely grateful in the week ahead. And it's possible as well for all of them, sun, moon, and rising Aries, one of your siblings is going through a profound healing as well. A sibling one younger or a sibling one, well, there's a lot of ways it could go. A sibling one older, a sibling one younger, and a sibling three older or a sibling three younger are going through really profound healings in their own life this week ahead. The backdrop of the square that builds through the end of next week, so you've got 2 weeks of this. Do you want to make a major choice to break away, cut, end, or sever something to do with your career or your reputation? Now, unfortunately for you guys, because the 10th house is a house of I'm married, I'm widowed, I'm divorced, some of you might be making major decisions around that, like, okay, I'm going to get married, or I'm going to get divorced, I'm going to get whatever, because the Juno Jupiter energy is husband wife of Mount Olympus in an oppositional energy connected to the house of your public reputation. So if you're in a miserable relationship and it's not the one for you, I'm not sure. Some of you might just want to say sayonara. And if you're already happily in a relationship, then there may be some real push and pull going on between you in a relationship, between your career and your home life, and connected maybe to decisions you need to make. Ceres here is like, okay, if you're going to snip, cut, and sever, what are you going to end? Do you need to spend more time home alone, tending to your relationship or your marriage partner? Venus is also in the mini Grand Trine to remind you, trying to give you blessings in your relationship to your marriage partner. if you have one. So maybe it just means more time together. Maybe there's need for more connection in your long-term love. Okay, let's move on. But I'm focused on you quite a bit because you are the tip of the triangle for both signs, right? You're getting a little longer time with me here because you've got so much going on all at once. Ultimately, sometimes, not always, but sometimes with this kind of sky, if there's a relationship in your life that is karmic, I mean, profoundly karmic, and that's because Lord Saturn's in the house of past lives right now, ruling Juno, then if it's coming to its karmic endpoint, like expiry date, shelf life, there just might be an ending point where you're really seeing, most specifically, it's going to be more acute next week, but it's building this week. It's time to cut the cord or sever the relationship energy. And that's what I got for you. So hopefully that helps you navigate the week ahead. Okay. Do I have any advice for you? No, just enjoy this ride. This is a beautiful energy here. And I mean, there's a lot I could say about it. This could even bring a windfall. You might feel like you're going to ka-ching on some kind of financial windfall off of this as well. And especially coming off the full moon in your 5th house this week ahead. Oops. Let me make sure that I move us to the whole sign house system for the other signs. So I did the Leo full moon by starting with Leo. And from now on, that's my protocol. If it's the lunation in your sign, full and new, or eclipses, we start with that sign. So hopefully you guys will enjoy the new format. And also, if you have ideas for my channel, please put it in the comments below. I read my comments and AI summarizes my comments for me these days, but it'd be nice if I knew what you guys would like to see more of. That I do appreciate feedback. All right, especially for my newbies. Taurus, sun, moon, and rising. Taurus, sun, moon, and rising sign. Well, the beginning of this week, you're really feeling the beautiful triangle coming into formation and really loving up your finances. Now, this is like when I see Hygeia in the 2nd house, I have 2 stories. Fiscal hygiene, like saving your money, organizing your money, being, or spending your money on healers and healing people. Like seeing a dentist. This is the house of your teeth, right? Seeing a facial person to, fix your face with medical protocols, sure. And yet on the other hand, hygiene, that's fiscal hygiene of your Hygeia, of your money. And it's flowing to your 10th house of career and reputation and visible status in the world. And so that can really look like quite a nice kind of beginning of a glow up for finances connected to your work and career. Look at what's going on in your 10th house, man. You guys are really showing up in the world in a very visible way right now, but also because these planets are still under the sun's beams, a lot of what you're doing in your career space right now doesn't really flourish and fruit fully till mid-February and mid-March. But all said and done, there's a lot going on up there. So you could be looking for the opportunity. Venus is going to bring golden opportunities for financial gain through career matters as this week unfolds. And it's going to be pretty precise around Thursday, okay, Jupiter's day, for some really good career luck and news, like a raise, a promotion, a bonus, getting the job you wanted to get. May not start till mid-February because of the sky. Venus is in delayed mode to be a visible planet, but all said and done, it looks really lovely for you. So do apply for jobs, do ask for the raises and all of that. Now, there's another thing to think about because this is also the 12th house. This is even better career glow up if it has to do with backroom deals and negotiations that favor you, or if you are working for an international company that has, offices beyond your own country, or that you are working in another country, or that you work in the world of your clients and customers and your revenue comes from international sources. So my Taurus daughter works for an international company. It's a US company with offices in Canada. And that would be indicating a very nice glow up for her, for example. My Taurus son daughter, I mean. The other thing is addictions. Have you struggled with any kind of habit or pattern around what you put in your mouth? That's what the Hygeia is. It's asking you to clean it up. No more weed, no more, whatever nose and mouth, what you put in your face that has self-undoing and addiction to it, time to change it. And it shows a flow and an ease towards moving toward a healthier dietary style or a healthier pattern around what you put in your mouth. And Venus and Mercury are supporting you from a place of the top of the sky. Now, that could look like you're publicly declaring to the world, letting people know I'm no longer smoking. I quit drinking. Maybe that's all that is. But for some of you, there could be some significant ease around dietary shifts or habits and patterns of what you ingest this week ahead. I like the idea as well, to finish into that last bit of that story, that your career path might give you opportunities abroad. If you don't already work for, an international company, you might get some new opportunities, and we could use work abroad or, career opportunities abroad for sure. Wow. What about the gnarly triangle, the red triangle in the background here that gets really intensely activated mid next week, but is still building this week? Do you need to make some kind of do you need to break some kind of agreement that you've made, right? Or do you need to make some kind of big change? And the energy is across the ninth house, the third house axis. Now, it could be something as simple as fracturing an agreement you made to travel abroad, right? To go off to a distant shore for some reason, maybe for friends and social groups under this kind of sky. On the other hand, there are lots of meanings to where Juno, the goddess of, Mount Olympus, Hera, is sitting. She's also very jealous of her husband, by the way. So watch out for jealousy in relationships this week ahead, but not necessarily jealousy in love relationships, in relationships connected to friends, siblings, people in your spiritual community. Watch out for, I don't like that, for hidden enemies and jealousy. Someone's jealous of you, you're jealous of them, so be careful for that story as well. But all said and done, you might want to make some breakage of agreements regarding marriage. I don't mean like you're already married and you want to break the agreement, but maybe, you agreed to get married and maybe you're not sure anymore. And this could also be a breaking of, with deep wisdom and truth, thanks to exalted Jupiter, a breaking or fracturing of an agreement connected to people or places that are foreign to where you currently live. I don't know who or what, but both Ceres, the cutter, and this shows the same story. If you're in a book publishing world and you have a book publishing deal, there's another breakage that could happen. Breaking an agreement you made with a friend, ally, or benefactor regarding legal matters, court matters, and also financial matters. Like maybe you had an agreement with somebody that's an ally, benefactor, friend, or elder sibling financially, and you may change your mind about that shared financial agreement, business partnership, or legal and court matters. Something's fracturing, something's changing, something's ending this week or next week. Okay. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see what happens. And back to this healing vibe. If you have an addiction or substance use disorder, look, Chiron's been telling you to pay attention to healing it since 2019, guys. So if you are, in any case, whatever, this could be a really and then God said, let it be. You're no longer interested in that substance abuse. Okay. Disorder. And let's move on to the next sign. Gemini, sun, moon, and rising sign. Well, first of all, we have your own Lord, just like I should have said that for Taurus. Venus is the Lord of your sign. Mercury is the Lord of Gemini, and he's up in your ninth house, and your ninth house is the house of God. And it has a lot, just like the third house is the house of the goddess, and this is ancient astrology. Technically, when I looked at this, glanced at this earlier today, I'm like, okay, you're really holding the handle of the story. Like you've got your pause on it here, right? You Gemini sun, career pause, Gemini moon, home, nest, and your emotions and thinkings. Those are pause are on Hygeia. And Gemini rising, your body, mind, and character that you play, like the simulation avatar, right? Especially your body. So if you're a Gemini rising, you might be working on physical healing of your body, medical healing of your body, working with healers to heal your body. And if you're a Gemini sun, you're trying to heal purpose, career, and physical vitality sometimes. And the moon, you're healing mother issues. Oh, just like Gemini sun might be healing father issues, and Gemini moon, mother issues. Now you're working on that because Hygeia is here. She's been here for a while, but we're not going to dive into all of that. Just to say, look, you're undergoing some healing this week ahead that's going to be easy. And it's going to line up very beautifully with healing connected to the house of God. Thank you, Venus and Mercury. And so what it might be is you could be healing wounds connected to publications, book publishing, foreign people, foreign lands, but more importantly, purpose and meaning. Like there's a dharmic quality to your ninth house. It's one of the houses of the significance of your life. And in order for you to feel like your life is significant and on track in a meaningful way, you need to heal something within yourself. And this could really align you to the true north that you're here to express in this lifetime. I mean, that whole stellium is saying the same thing. And it's given a beautiful, like, mini trine to the 11th house of good spirit. I mean, the 11th house is a lucky house. It brings windfalls, for goodness sakes. I mean, there's nothing about that you're not going to want to experience. It's one of the best houses in the zodiac. And the ninth house is also very fortunate. So I want you to think this week ahead about what you might be healing to do with also your long range plans, goals, and visions for your life, especially your career space, 11th house, connected to being aligned with your purpose and having a sense of fulfillment and meaning in life. Okay. There's a huge healing. I don't know. Go back to 2019. Chiron was also saying, hey, feeling wounded with your friendship circles, your groups of belonging, your long range goals and dreams, your career and the gains of your career, and feeling just something was not quite right. A little wounded there since 2019, maybe wounded about friendships that ended, loss of friends. I'm a progressed Gemini sun. 2 girlfriends passed away that I was quite close to. And then another one, 3 girlfriends passed away between 2020 and 2022. Okay. So talk about the wound in the house of friendships. So you're healing those wounds as well this week ahead. Now, as you heal the chironic wounds and as you flow to meaning and purpose, and Mercury, the Lord of your sign, is working his magic with you and for you. It's also good for book publishing, book writing, book agents, all that kind of stuff. You're going to notice that there's a backdrop square that looks a little bit like something is trying to fracture or shift dramatically. This is going to look like financial matters changing, and you're looking at what will be more exact mid next week, but is building up this week ahead of February the 2nd to the 8th. This can be a change of stature or status with a significant marriage partner over money. This could look like a divorce settlement, being served papers. This could look like, because Jupiter rules your legal marriage house. This could look like a real turning point regarding some ending, cutting, and severing connected to a career position. Now, that's because one of the snippers, right? The snipper, Ceres in Aries, and she does like to cut, sever, and end. She's also able to really like, okay, these are your career gains, right? I make money doing something. This is how I make the profits from my 10th house to the 11th house. And she's got a pair of, I don't know, like harvesting the wheats, the scythe in her hands. And you might be finding that there's something changing in how you make money, because these are both money. This is your earnings and resources, the earned income. There's a cut, sever, end change. I don't know why you're doing it. No idea why you're doing that, right? But there could be a breach of contract, an end of contract. Saturn is the ruler of Juno in the significant like career space. Will you do that on purpose, or will it just be done? I don't know. Now, as a progressed Gemini sun, of course, now I'm pondering what the heck that could look like. And it can be very minor. Like if I use my progressed Gemini sun, I might change my mind on some aspect of a career obligation and a way I would gain money. If I think of anything off the cuff, it's that I have an obligation to see some clients and open up spots for my Patreon community in February. And I might say no, I might not. I don't think I will, actually. The more I think about it, now I'm breaking an agreement, right, around a way to make money in my career. But it's also because I think I need to take more time for myself right now to finish my book proposal. So it's not about them, it's about me. So there's some ideas, okay? But this builds up next week and becomes really critical, right? It becomes a real thing and more intense mid next week, not this week. So more towards the week after this one. So keep your eye on this ball, please. See what happens. Cancer sun, Cancer moon, and Cancer rising sign. The thing I want you to pay attention to is that you are carrying a very powerful Jupiterian blessing right now, even when retrograde Jupiter is blessing you. And he's off to the races, going direct on March the 11th, blessing you. So with this in mind, you've got the Jupiterian blessing in play, yay you. And from the backdrop of that, let's start off with the gnarly T-square because it's so importantly hooked right to your sun, moon, and rising identity. As you are gracious, lucky, big-hearted, leaderful, and magnanimous, Jupiter, leaving here at the end of June, by the way, here since last June, or end of May, or whatever it was, this is literally going to look like you this week and the week after this one, coming into an oppositional energy to a commitment you've made in your marriage situation, in your business partnerships, or to your audience, marketplace, and clients. There is a vow or an agreement across this I-thou axis that is cutting and severing. Because this involves the career space, there's likely that, but this is also the public space. I'm widowed, I'm divorced, I'm separated. Both are true. You may be coming to a closure in the next 2 weeks of a marriage situation, or wanting to make that change, or it's going to happen. You might be coming to a closure of a career obligation or job or career space thing, but it's happening and it's going to be over the next 2 weeks. Don't forget, Juno entered here December 29th, your marriage house, and leaves on Monday, March the 28th. I mean, not a Monday. And you know, Juno's only here every, oh my God, I think it's 5.5 to 6 years. And so it's you get the marriage testing ground when she's here. Cause I noticed that she's like just as fond of divorce as she is as weddings and stuff, right? And so, and every time Juno returns to your natal Juno, you often end and begin major relationships or make major turning points in existing love stories. So this is a powerful I-thou axis. Now you could be fracturing a professional agreement as well, ending a contract or agreement professionally. So both professional and long-term love relationship intensity, but Jupiter's blessing you. Wisdom, knowledge, and truth are yours. And because he's retrograde, this connects you to something you've been ruminating on for quite a while, actually, since August. So you've been thinking about whatever this is since August. You've been figuring it out since August. Now, having this story of the beautiful flow of the mini Grand Trine operating this week ahead, there's nothing wrong with that story. You're going to love it. It's going to play out most intensely this Thursday. So that will be on the February the 5th timeframe. And it's going to be a kind of a combination of Mercury, Venus, because Mercury started it up on Monday. And they're going to open up doors of financial opportunity. This is your 8th house of unearned income. And it's going to flow to your career and reputation healing. And it's going to connect you to past life stuff. Now, one thing is, if you are a healer, okay, if that's a professional avocation or vocation, then something good is happening financially around a professional endeavor and the word healing. If you're a guide, a teacher, a mentor, or healer, this can be a nice glow up this whole week ahead. And it can indicate more money coming to you as well through your career as a healer, including digital income and borderless revenue. This is also really good for healing ancestral patterns, ancestral wounds, and past life junk in the trunk. This is also really positive if you're somebody who works in a career path that has felt wounded. You know, Chiron is the key to purpose. He uses the natural gifts and talents that you're born with. Your original medicine is embedded in the Chironic stories, and your key to purpose is Chironic. So if you've been feeling like you've been trying to find your purpose since 2019, like my sister Nancy, who's a Cancer rising, retired from nursing in a hospital 30 years, and she's been looking around for her true purpose. And she is a healer, by the way, and she's really good. Healingwithnancylynn.com. She's gifted. Distance healing work, healingwithnancylynn.com. And so she's looking for that key to purpose. She's an example. So it doesn't mean you haven't been working since 2019. Have you felt it's like you've got the key in the lock? Is it the right thing for you? Possibly some of you think you should be doing book publishing with this, situation over here. But whatever you're doing here, going back to school and learning something new or teaching. But this is like, okay, something's trying to heal in a glowing, flowing way around that key to purpose. And you may break away from ancestral and egoic patterns that have held you back from finding that key. On the other hand, are you an occultist, like a tarot reader, a numerologist, a gene keys type, any of the occultist, paranormal, supernatural, or hidden mysteries and the hermetic wisdom types? This is your 8th house, and that's lit, guys. It's lit. So now you might be activating occult knowledge, wisdom, or talents to give you a professional glow up, allowing for some deep, profound healing of past life wounds. Okay, those are kind of cool stories as well. I do like Neptune up there in your 10th house. If you are already an occultist, this is the beginning of a week that shows you, yes, you have psychic abilities. Yes, you can heal people. Yes, you can raise the dead from the grave. You know what I mean? Like, this is giving you a huge clue that your psychic ability, your supernatural powers, your spiritual powers are actually important in what it is you're here to do in the world, no matter what you do in the world. Oh my God. Why did I just turned the light up on my laptop. It went down to almost nothing. No wonder I looked so dark. Oh my God. I should have started the video with the light on. Okay, moving onward. Goodness gracious. Leo, sun, moon, and rising, week ahead story. First of all, you look at the energy of the good stuff. This is how this week feels. This epicenter Thursday is pretty powerful. You had a chironic wound since 2019 to do with God, truth, spiritual ideology. Universe is a friendly place, around purpose and meaning in your life, around foreigners, foreign people and lands, around lawsuits and legal court judge matters, a chironic wound around your own father or father figures in your life, or a chironic woundedness around things to do with publishing, book publishing, and maybe even visas and foreign travel. All of these have been here since Chiron's entrance into your 9th house, the back in 2019. It's ending in 27, so it's almost done, fully ending. I would encourage you under this sky, this week ahead, to look for meaning and purpose of life themes to emerge that align with your deepest wishes and visualized vision boards. All right, because of Neptune. And coming into a harmonious flow with the house of great gains in your career. You make money, you get rewards, you get, statues on the runway of the red carpet, rollout here. This, the employee of the month, your Oscar performance. All the perks and rewards of the 10th house are in the 11th. You might be healing some of that in a meaningful way as you're more on purpose than ever, Leos. This also could look like healing a relationship too. Somebody in your social groups or friendship networks, or to a sibling one older. At the same time, you could heal a relationship with a sibling two older, right here. As well, you could also be activating some significant healing energies connected to marriage. The one you're with, long-term committed love, cohabit, legal marriage, all the same. And there may be a really beautiful flow to the long-term marriage house at this time that feels very opportune and very easy and very grace-filled. Now, there's a lot going on for your significant other with Mars, Pluto here, and Sun, and they might be going through a difficult time. And all I'm seeing then might be the fact that as they go through a very challenging time in their life over something important to them, you're there, supporting them. And they could be even going through a very difficult time in their life regarding a sibling relationship. And maybe it's just their own challenges, your significant relationship partner is going through a challenge with a sibling that you're really on board. At the same time, this could connect you to siblings as well. Lots of healing energy around siblings. 3 older, 3 younger, 2 older, 1 older, 1 younger. There's a lot of sibling vibe going on here for you. Okay, a lot of healing regarding sibling vibes, especially on Thursday. Now, if you want to get a book publishing deal, look to Thursday, Friday, okay? You get a lot of support for writing, publishing energies as well. When we move to the difficult story, we're talking about what the heck, this big triangle, which really is going to be exact mid next week, not this week, but pay attention to the buildup for it. Are you feeling like it's getting to be time that you might want to change or fracture or cut an agreement or a vow connected to a rental property, connected to a debt agreement, like how much money you owe, like at the bank, cutting away from that, or credit cards, or fracture, end, or cut or sever an agreement connected to a job and work and employment? And if you want to do that, that's totally fine, because the severing is coming from the house of the Dharma, meaning of your life. And this would be like you're going to end that in order to pursue something that's more truly meaningful. And the employment that you're currently in or whatever may not be the thing for you. And you want to, or the job that you do, it doesn't have to be employment, like the work that you do, and you realize, okay, no, this thing I'm doing isn't what I want to do. I'm going to end this because I know that there's something more meaningful for me. And this week and next week, these are things that are happening within you that may be very important, that you might be thinking about, that you might be building up a lot of momentum for the week ahead. And because it's really brought on by Jupiter as well, it's not the end of the world, right? I mean, Jupiter is like, okay, we're going to bring something good from an ending. You can also notice that, I'm not going to get into too much detail here, this could look like the troubles that your spouse is having are medical or hospital-ish, that can happen under this kind of thing. But yet your relationship to that other person in your life is going to be better than it was because of the trials that they may be going through if it does occur as a health challenge for them. This is general bell curve astrology. Don't fret too much about it. It's not your natal reading. Moving into, oh my God, am I recording yet? Moving into the next story. I need to change my position here. I'm going to get my footstool for Virgo. Virgo, we need to get a footstool going. This is my thing, finding myself a comfortable spot for you guys. Oh. All right. It is a footstool moment. You guys, I sometimes think I sound just like Candace Owens. You guys, hey, you guys, do I sound like Candace Owens? Let me know in the comments. I wonder if my voice is a little bit like her voice. Now, I am unfortunately somebody who you might call a conspiracy theorist, but I call myself, every conspiracy I've ever had has turned out to be true. Okay, in the long game. Okay. So in that case, maybe I'm just foresight. Okay. But let's keep going. Every time I say, you guys, I sound like Candace. All right, now let's moving into the next story. Virgo, sun, moon, and rising. Virgo, sun, moon, and rising. Oh. Hang on. I have to be comfortable for my Virgos. All right. That's better. Way better. Virgo, sorry. But this is important. The oracle must be comfortable. Okay, I think I got it. I think I've got it totally down. First off, Virgo, the week is blessed by a beautiful miniature triangle, fortified by the Lord of your sign, Mercury. Now, Mercury is always about news and information, so we better bring that to the forefront for you, okay? I want you to look at the sky from here, Tuesday, February 3rd. Mercury is going to Mercury is going to flow, okay, to career, 10th house, Hygeia, while also flowing to the Chironic wound in the 8th house. It looks to me like it could be a Chironic wound about money. If it's money that you invest or that you inherit or that you share with a spouse or these kinds of monies, okay, that's the story. Money stuff, Chironic wound there since 2008, trying to heal it. My daughter splurged her grandma's inheritance in the summer, so she's Virgo rising. My girlfriend Virgo had a challenge with her spouse type thing over money that's healed already. So you've been dealing with these healing things. And money and healing and spouse and inheritance and all of that since 2019. That's your Chironic wound up in the 8th house, finishing in 27. And this week ahead is like, okay, Mercury has some information and news to do with money connected to work. It could be anything because it's chunky money. Give me that chunky money, 8th house stuff. Give it to me now. That chunky money, you don't earn it. It's not a paycheck. Now, it can be a commission, bonus check, insurance payout, tax rebate, money from a spouse. It could be money that from your in-laws, but there's a chunk of money that seems to want to emerge in a healing way that feels healing to a lot of layers of who you are. It may also bring a healing in your career space as well. So then again, it can be something to do with your professional endeavors, because both 6th and 10th house are work related. Venus rules your earned income. But then if it's earned income, it comes through a form that's not your normal paycheck. So a spontaneous raise or promotion. And if you have commission checks or work that brings you commission work, you could have a chunk of commission come in. So this is going to heal you very strongly around career and money wounds of some kind, maybe connected to your debts as well, an ability to pay down a credit card debt or unexpected debt relief for indebtedness. Those things I see here for you, really building up to a peak on Thursday, but starting with Mercury on Tuesday. And Venus is really the goddess of money. So she's doing her damnedest to support this journey to heal something in your story. And it can be very important with Venus's support to actually, in the long run, bring you some new sources of earned income as well, professionally. So while you may also get a chunk of money, you might also get something new showing up, new client, new source of income, new role in the company with a new way of making money. But there's also something that feels like a chunk of money coming up this week ahead. Let me know in the comments by the end of the week if any of you got a bit of a nice professional chunk of money coming in. Then we move away from that particular grace-filled week and we talk about, hang in, it's good for healing anything physical, okay? And seeing like a professional here on the top of the sky, an authority figure, and healing something, and also healing anything to do with addictions. Both of those are true. Now, the other thing I want you to know is that this backdrop triangle peaks next week, okay? Let's say mid next week, not this week, not the week of February 2 to 8, but nonetheless, it's building up this week. You might feel it already happening, that there's something that wants to cut or fracture or end. And that's because we're going to end up with Jupiter and Juno, the god and goddess of Mount Olympus, exactly opposite each other next Wednesday, Thursday, a week from now. But these things can happen this can be engaging this week. Something could happen this week. So let's say this Thursday to next Thursday. It could be that you're going to have a fracture in a friendship, a breakup in a social group, ending, a breakup or ending with a friendship group. If you're just dating somebody, there may be a breaking or fracturing of agreements regarding your dating life and decisions that you may not want to date. But this could also be something happening in regards to one of your children. So if you have children, one of your kids might be going through a breakup in a romantic relationship. And that's all that is. And you're on the sidelines, not really the main story. But Ceres is also cutting and severing from the 8th house towards your 5th and 11th. So there may be some deep karmic ties with a friend, with a social group, with a child or for a child, and it indicates karmic endings in the life of a child, in the life of a romantic partnership, if it's just dating and not legally married, if you ask me. And also connections to, if you're an entrepreneur, then making some massive fractures financially from business partners or entrepreneurial client arrangements in the next week ahead. Jupiter's bringing good things. If something ends here for you this week into next week, all good. It'll all come out in the wash as a positive decision and a positive direction. You got to trust me on that one. Okay. What am I doing? Why am I going by day? Hour. Libra, sun, moon, and rising sign. It is a sky that tells us that you're having a really beautiful start to this week with this miniature triangle playing out in a sky with the energy of your healing of your 9th house, which can be healing regarding purpose and meaning in life and directionality and true north, or healing in relationship to a sibling too older, for example, and healing connected to 5th house, romance, sex, love, entrepreneurship, pleasure, play, there's a lot going on here for you on the sex and romance front. You're really considering a lot of things, but you won't know the final answer till mid-February and even mid-March based on Venus-Mars stories. But there's a lot of intensity here. This is also your art, your creativity, your muse, your creative expression, your entrepreneurial expression. And this is the kind of vibe as we epicenter on Thursday with the intensity of this. Well, you could really also heal something deeper to do with publishing, book publishing, writing, international success. And there's another little thing. This little beautiful triangle here is pointing to committed long-term love. It's also pointing to your marriage type partnerships that may have been going through on and off intermittent wounding since 2019. You could have attracted somebody with a wound or a wounded partner, or just you're wounded in business and love long-term partnerships since 2019. And this is trying this week ahead to bring a resolution and a healing to that. And definitely this Venus Mercury energy this week, Tuesday and Thursday, could bring you into conversations with a significant long-term love partnership that are profoundly healing, but it could also involve measures of connection to that person that have to do with long-range vision for the relationship. Like, hey, we're in this business or love partnership. What are our long-range goals and plans for this? This week and next week, those themes will become even stronger. So, this would be really true if you're committed. This is not if you're just dating someone this week ahead. You could date someone this week ahead and later it could become committed, but the healing is already in the place of where we have committed to something. You could bring a healer, guide, teacher, or mentor into your life this week and next to help you heal issues to do with love, romance, sex, fun, play, pleasure, creativity. All right. And this would look like seeing a guide, a therapist, a shaman, or a mentor, and coming into some profound healing over those elements of reality for you. Now, when we look at the more difficult story that is building this week, mostly Thursday of this week through to next Thursday, you might see yourself wanting to cut, end, or sever an agreement professionally, agreements you made in committed and marriage-like relationships, because this is a scythe that cuts. This is Jupiter, the wise one, in the 10th house. This is our social standing, divorced, married, widowed, and it's also our career. Juno, the goddess of marriage, is in your 4th house. She's been here and committed vows since she's been here since the end of December 29th, leaves at the end of March. When she's down here, major decisions around commitments connected to long-term love and career matters are underway for you to stay or to go. Should I stay or should I go? That's the song for you here. I need more water. Ironically, as you see, both triangles pointing at the committed business and love partnerships house, both of them at once, you could be making major decisions that equals an ending as a healing, or a recommitment is a healing. You see what I mean? So it could go either way on this one. If you're not focused on a business partner or long-term love partner, you could be focused on your audience, your marketplace, your clients in a critical turning point way, especially as we approach next Thursday, not this Thursday. So this thing starts to heat up late this week into late next week. With Jupiter ruling the house of work, right, and Saturn in the work house, some of you are making critical turning point decisions regarding work, job, livelihood, and career. Okay, so, and you may be cutting away, ending some aspect of all of that as well, as you see this square heating up this week into late next week. T-square. Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising sign. Is it crazy that I'm only halfway through? What I see here for you is that you're going to experience a nice vibe of a beautiful healing energy this week ahead. I kind of love it if you're going to think about things to do with rental properties, home, domestic life, money, fiscal hygiene, debts, banks, loans, and mortgages. Beautiful, lucky, healing, wonderful energy. Chironic wound in the house of work could indicate, with the sun down here, a change of job stature, a new job, changing your role in the company or the job itself, changing structures in your employment for the better, for a healing. This could open up new professional advancement that allows for more freedom to work in and from the home as well. This opens up the possibility as well as debt relief if you have any financial debt connected to home expenses or mortgages. And this is also a beautiful thing that's going on this week ahead with this Venus trine Chiron, of healing a health challenge that you may have had on and off since 2019. And you're healing it because it's a karmic health challenge that's coming to a close. At the same time, there may be some healing regarding pets. And this kind of sky could bring in a very beautiful story around animals that you already have, or an inbound new animal that can be like almost like an emotional support animal, or, one of those animals that can really bring some kind of the power of healing. All animals bring healing. I love that, because Eckhart Tolle says that the reason we love our animals is not because they don't talk back, but because they are actually in the present moment and bring us into the present moment. I agree with that. Oh, just look into your animal's eyes, okay, when they allow you to. And I want to tell you that, Venus down here in the fourth house, right? Coming into that beautiful flow on Thursday, for example, to Chiron and to, Hygeia. This could bring a new kind of sweetness to long-term committed love. All right. It could bring more fun, more play, more joy, more ease and connection with your significant other, romantically or emotionally, as this week progresses. There's a nice feeling here for that. But practically speaking, if you're looking for a new home, you want to rent your property out, you want to rent a property for yourself, opportunities that are golden and lucky may emerge for that this week ahead. Okay. Through till the end of the week, Sunday. The difficulty for the triangle here is probably breaking of an agreement regarding travel. This is both 9 and 3 can be an axis for travel, or agreements regarding work and travel, or agreements regarding job, career, work, and travel, or academics, like learning agreements. So fracturing an agreement, especially if it's professional agreements like education for your job, and some changes here where there's some kind of kerfuffle or disagreement or changing of the agreement stature. Jupiter opposite his wife, Juno, Jupiter also is the ruler of your fifth house. Your fifth house is your children. So there may be some changes of agreements or vows you've made to some of your kids, and you're like, sorry about that, but I'm changing my mind. I no longer agree to that agreement that I made with you, whether it's travel with your kids or anything to do with your children, and breaking that agreement to your children, for example. And breaking agreements regarding entrepreneurial projects or entrepreneurial business endeavors, especially if they involve writing, communicating, publishing, or the social media and online sphere. And just saying, what the heck, I've changed my mind. I'm breaking the agreement. I'm breaking the vow. And the opposition means something wants to, it's intense, tight tug of war. Something's got to give. Sometimes ninth house is a tug of war between a spiritual teacher, a guide, a pastor, a mentor, a coach. And you might want to fracture some agreements there as well, especially if they're professional, based on like professional guidance coaches, human resource departments can be ninth house too. And because of that, you might have some kind of real professional fracture going on this week into late next week, coming off of things to do with the human resource people. But still, at the same time, you're having a glow up in the workspace. So there's two things happening at once, and both are true. That's what I got for you. Definitely see something going on here. Could change the way you make money as well. Something big is happening. It could be very professional shifts, law, legal courts, battles, and lawsuits as well. They favor you right now, by the way, but you may want to break away from the intensity. You might want to mediate, or what do you call it? Like you make a deal, cut a deal. This could be cutting a deal this week and into next week in legal lawsuit territory, courts and battles there. All right. When we talk about Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising, you are Jupiter ruled. We might want to start right away with the tension that's this week into late next week, where you have a money crisis of some sort. I don't know what it is, Sag, but you're having some kind of fracture potentially between money that you earn, money that you inherit, money that you share with your spouse, money that you make, money, agreements and vows you've made. And maybe, oh, I'm not so sure I want to keep it, especially to your parents or father figures or elders. I mean, there's a lot going on. And you might also make some kind of money fracture intensity coming up this week into late next week regarding children, one of your children, or regarding siblings. And that would be a sibling too younger, more likely than not. Okay. And some fracture of some agreement structures with that person, especially over money. It looks like even I can even add a little spice to the mix. Any sibling, any age in this chart. Okay. Any sibling, any age, financial disagreements, breakage of agreements, tension and breakage of agreements. There should be a pact. We want to make a deal. Something's going on. It's very intense. It could involve land, property, legacy wealth, and inheritances and siblings, and intensity this week ahead and into end of next week. Jupiter is trying to give you a best outcome possible. If it's about money and siblings, money and parents, money and land, money and inheritance, whatever all that is about, you're going to come out on top. It's an older story. It's returning. It's not the first rodeo on this story. Now, when we get out of that story, let's talk about the good one. This week ahead, like Tuesday and Thursday, are two nice little pops of a Mercury and a Venus back to back, flowing beautifully to this miniature trine into the house of good fortune. So good fortune, good things are trying to happen. At the very same time, the good things that are trying to happen in your fifth house, given the kind of beautiful sky that's flowing, can be good things to do with love and romance, especially if you want to meet somebody in the local neighborhood, do a dating app, or go on a trip locally and meet somebody. In this regard, it's good for a kind of glow up this week for going on a date. If you're single, go on a date. It looks like it'll heal a chironic wound about sex and love that you've been dealing up since 2019. And if you're not single, then you might have a repair of the sexual intimacy and the romance in an existing long-term marriage type relationship. You know, read Mating in Captivity. Couples get together and they get bored of each other and all the sizzle goes out of the sex, right? Well, this could be a very healing week for the sizzle to come back into the sex. Your children. This can be news that one of your children is going to have some significant positive developments in their life regarding marriage or romance or pregnancy and fertility. You just might be getting word that one of your kids is popping a baby out, you know, or going to pop a baby out, or that they've fallen madly in love, and you're just cheering on their story, right? Oh, good for you, honey. I'm so glad. Especially in this chart. Yeah, it works for both it really works more for a second born child this week ahead. But there's a longer game that could activate something really positive for a firstborn child as well. And lastly, and not leastly, if you're an artistic creative type, if you're an entrepreneurial type, then you're getting a glow up. You could really heal your artistic, creative, entrepreneurial instincts and get some kind of social media stature, some kind of micro celebrity, some kind of positive developments regarding contractual agreements for your creative and entrepreneurial art. There's something good trying to happen at this time as well. And if you want to see a healer to help you heal sexual issues in your life, you're like a therapist, and this week opens up a door of that opportunity to see that kind of therapist, likely a female therapist under this chart, then that could be very helpful and healing as well for you during the whole of this week ahead. But really nice energy on Tuesdays and Thursday this week. Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising. You're going to see the sky through the lens of should I stay or should I go? This week and next week, okay? It picks up really intensely on Thursday, and it kind of really also kind of hits epicenter the following Thursday, a week later. I have to start with that because you've got Juno here since December 29th to March 28th. And when Juno moves through the first house, so Capricorn sun, should I go stay or should I go? Well, it can be marriage and it can be commitment and it could be business opportunities. For Cap sun rising, it's definitely about relationship, and Cap moon is how you feel about relationship, including where you live. But all said and done, this is intense because when Juno transits through our first house energetically, we look at the lens of life through agreements, vows, and commitments. Juno, it doesn't care. She's like good for divorce, good for wedding vows. She goes either way. She's like two sides of the same damn coin. And she's been going through your sky since the end of December to the end of March. And these are themes that you're going to continually be pondering. You're looking at life through her lens, right? And she's also jealous of her husband in the mythology, a lot of jealousy. So hopefully you're not feeling jealousy, but there can be a feeling of jealousy coming through, connected to committed long-term love partners. So watch for that. When you look at Juno here and you look at your other side of the sky, your marriage partner, long-term partner, there may be some serious connections here about a long-term partner from the past, a marriage partner from the past, reemerging in your life, right? Your former spouse is suddenly back in the picture. There can be that. And there's like intensity around that this week ahead into next week, right? Both weeks are activated. There also could be something going on about you making critical turning point decisions to cut, end, and sever an existing relationship. You might also be making some big turning point decisions, quite as simply, easily, to do with where you live this next couple of weeks. Agreements regarding property, land, home, domicile, where you reside. You might do that because you've been chironically wounded since 2019 in the fourth house of home. And you've been feeling like you can't find your true home. You don't belong. You don't know where you belong in the world. Where should you reside? Where should you sleep at night? Where is your true nest? And Juno is about the agreements we make regarding the word nest, home, and, whatever. So we sign a lease, we buy a property, but it's all opposed to relationship. The relationship is in the mix. So sometimes I'm going to move because I'm getting divorced, right? I'm going to move because I need to move because I'm no longer in that relationship. So many ways it could go, guys. So many ways it could go. You're looking at the idea of major, should I agree or should I disagree? Should I vow a yes or should I cut away with a no? Where commitments lie this week ahead. For the most part, for most of you, it's going to be about where you live, your home relationship like situation, and significant relationship, business and love partners. Some of this could involve a sibling if it's your sibling 3 younger or 3 older, especially if they're coming back from the past. And there's a chironic element to do with the healing energies there as well. We'll get to that in a minute, but also to do with, cutting and ending and severing. It's possible, but not probable, that a sibling 3 older or 3 younger could be coming into some time of connection to you, but also some time of really hard energy in their own life. And that brings you into the awareness of what's going on with them. That's another thought. Now, one thing about the week ahead that we start off with a very positive note, of course, is this mini Grand Trine. And this is going to be the good news. Like I gave you the hard stuff first. That takes place until all of this week into late next week. But when we look at this week, this is your money and earnings and resources. Nothing wrong with your second house. We want to make money, have money, possess things, possess a car, possess a home, possess it all. I possess everything. This is now it got really bright. What did I just do to make my screen doubly bright? Oh my God, I love that. I have no idea what I just did, but it's fantastic. Anyway, and this is money. And this is a good week. I want you to pay attention to Tuesday and then I want you to pay attention to Thursday. On Tuesday, it's going to be, I'm going to say, Tuesday and then Thursday, Friday. First of all, around Tuesday, Mercury will activate something exciting here. And he's going to open up a mini Grand Trine while he also activates some surprises with Uranus. And, he gets more into the Uranus story as the week progresses. Venus, though, is opening up that mini Grand Trine, and it's going to open up some excitement to do with chironic healing, to do with the wound about where you live, to do with your childhood wounds, to do with your relationship to mom and to dad. Okay. And healing those chironic wounds. What are those wounds you're trying to heal about childhood, mother, father, childhood, people you lived with growing up? And you're doing a really big self-esteem up level if you're using this week correctly. And, this kind of flow and glow is so wonderful. This little miniature triangle looks like you can really turn the corner on some childhood stuff. And it flows, this beautiful thing, as well to Hygeia in the house of health. And this is a house of your mouth and your nose. So some health and teeth, improvements in your face and health, and opening up some healing of health matters connected to your childhood, strangely enough. This could look like a rental contract opportunity. It could look like a property opportunity um, to buy a home. That could happen under the sky. Mortgages and purchases of property this week ahead. News or information around property, land, debt, home, rental, and purchases are all very lovely for you this week ahead. And lastly, I mean, Venus wants to bring something good. She's never not going to bring something good. And this week eventually she's going to come here closer to next week, and she's going to activate Uranus, right? If I can get it forward for you without losing your sign, I'll probably lose your sign. Around here, like Sunday, Monday, there's a nice little surprise here, but I was going to bring that into next week's astrology, but it could be a financial surprise. It could even be a windfall. But before we ever get to that, look, are you going to move your home, buy a home, sell a home? This is good for buying or selling a car. All right. These are things that are happening this week. And this happens with ease, flow, and grace. Ease, flow, and grace. Improving your health as well. If you're looking for work and you want to get a job or you need employment, yes, yes, yes. Thursday, all week, but a nice little Thursday, Friday glow up and getting work, getting job, getting employment, if that's something you're looking for. Or relieving yourself of a debt, a burden of debt, and you can get rid of it. Yep, yep, yep. Oh, and we're going to move into Aquarius. Before I do, I'm going to stop the share. Oh, I see what's happened. I've got this big, like, phaco ring light around my screen, and it's something to do with the camera on my computer. It's so cool. There's a big square of light around my screen. Okay. I don't know where that came from. I'm going to be right back. I just need to get some more water and we shall continue. What the hell? I can't even find where I am relative to you guys. This little light around me is now blocking off there's my recording button. Pause. All right, let's get the last two signs for the week ahead out of the way. And I know I'm showing you my messy desktop again. Am I recording? Okay, let's go. Ow. Sorry, repetitive use injury on my shoulder that I cannot lift my arm towards the computer again. Let's go ahead and talk about our Aquarians. I am definitely one of you, and first house ascendant storyline and moving into us. So Aquarius, yeah, I know we've got the stellium here. We haven't seen this kind of energy since 1994, same time of year. It was when I quit my journalism job and never went back to do journalism again. So it's a pretty interesting time to be alive. This kind of stellium in our first house is giving us a lot of energy. No two ways about it. Sun, career energy, moon, home and thinking energy, mind, emotion, and rising, of course, the character in the simulation is pretty animated. And this energy is positive because Venus is here. And ultimately, we're going to see some real intense blossoming of the potential we have in life in mid-February. Wait for that. I'll be talking about that from the eclipse that's coming up. But you guys are like me, we're like lots going on. We're pretty animated with this energy. We're pretty informed by all the planets. We're pretty active. And very social, by the way. I'm going to dinner with a friend tonight that I haven't seen in ages. Like Venus, Mercury makes us much more sociable and wanting to socialize with people. But energetically speaking, the week ahead brings a glow. The first thing we want to talk about is what the fuck, excuse my language, is this? This is like, oh yeah, I'm healing my chironic wound in the third house, a wound with siblings since 2019, traveling a shorter distance, talk about the pandemic for those of us who didn't take an unnecessary protocol. I may have been unsafe as well. I couldn't travel anywhere. And also the third house is our writing, communicating, marketing, selling, and teaching. Now you say I have a chironic wound there. I'm talking marketing, selling, and teaching all the time, but I've had wounds around writing since 2019. And Chiron doesn't just wound us. It makes us look like a guide or a mentor, a teacher or a healer, right? So that's my professional role. I teach classes. So if you want to talk about the chironic wound from the wounded part, where have you been wounded in your communications? Where have you been wounded in your fingers and hands? Like I almost chopped a finger off actually during these years. Oh my God, it was bad. So, but where have you been wounded in something to do with what you want to communicate? Well, I mean, I can't talk about bad things that happen in the world now because this platform and all others are very controlling about what we can freely speak. There is no free speech anymore. But the other element of it is You might have had some deeper wounds connected to even your neighbors and neighborhood, like where you live and who you hang with and the social life you have and the daily things you do in the every day. Anyway, all of that's healing in this week ahead. Seriously wonderful, because this chironic healing that bothered us since 2019 is getting a really, really rare glow up. And Venus and Mercury, Tuesday, Mercury is more tightly flowing. And then Thursday, Friday, it's Venus's turn to healing that chironic wound. And it could look so many different ways under this kind of sky. One way it could definitely look is we have some kind of book publishing opportunity or writing opportunity or communicating opportunity or travel opportunity. And this kind of energy, all of those things I said this week ahead, brings us to our creative, artistic, entrepreneurial, and muse inspired fifth house. This is a healing around the muse, around the entrepreneurial, around the communicating, around the writing, speaking, maybe, no speaking, writing. But this is also the house of sex, love, romance. Hygeia, well, of course, hygiene, right? You don't want to catch anything here. You don't want an STD, but this is flowing. So a healing around sex, love, and intimacy. Venus, the goddess of romance, is like having a powwow. Mercury's information or news. Chiron is the wound. If you were single and looking for a relationship, you're charismatic and charming. You could meet somebody because you're traveling. You could meet somebody because you're in the online social media sphere. You could meet somebody because you are working in a professional capacity online. You could meet somebody because you are, did I say traveling? Okay. You could meet somebody through your children. So if you need to meet someone because you're single, you could come into contact with somebody in this week ahead. It's possible. Anything is possible. Now, the other element of the chironic healing going on this week is if you had a falling out or a difficulty with a sibling, or if a sibling has been going through a health challenge, this could be a very healing time in the life of a sibling, and may also just be that you're participating and supporting a sibling through a healing time. And Mercury is quite happy under this kind of a sky to open up a channel of communication that's very healing with a wounded relationship with a sibling, one younger or two younger than you, and open up a very profound and healing conversation this week ahead. If you are a writer like I am, then use this week ahead to write something important. Okay. And see what comes out of your writing, because it can be very profound this week ahead. You might write one of the most important things you've ever written, honestly, most inspired thing you've ever written, especially on Tuesday or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Now, let's move us away from that for a second, and let's get to the darker story or difficult story of what is wanting to cut, end, and sever, because Ceres has got a scythe or a sickle, and she's going to help snip something, third house thingies connected to sixth house, 12th house. Juno, the goddess of committed vows, marriage. Jupiter, her husband, across an axis that we'd associate with deep karmatic and past life stuff. So at one level, if you're in a relationship that's deeply karmatic and yet committed, and you need to snip, cut, end, or sever that, you'll do that through communication that is written. It will be a phone call. It won't be a phone call because that's audible. It will likely be a text message or an email. You or somebody may choose that mechanism to close out a relationship, as cold as it sounds. That could happen. At the same time, Juno here and Jupiter here activate a couple other stories. You might have a vow or agreement you've made connected to work obligations, including employees, and you may have to cut or sever that relationship. So you might have to let go of or fire some employee here in this kind of setting, or quite possibly an employee could decide that they're going to quit or end the employment relationship. And that's okay. That would be just exactly what's needed. It's not a hardship. It's just a termination energy, right? This is not you getting fired from a job. Okay. That's not what this is. This is if you have employees. Karmic vows, you've made karmic vows to some situation, person, or place in your life. This could also be connected to financial agreements you've made with somebody in your life. And you're going to terminate that financial arrangement, especially if it has to do with a sibling, one younger, one older, or just siblings in general. It doesn't have to be a hardship. It's playing out this week into next week. Okay. It's not one day. It's this Thursday through to next Thursday. It's pretty darn active. So keep your eye on this story. Let me know how that plays out for you. I'd love to hear back. Pisces, sun, moon, and rising sign. Let's start with the hard story. Jupiter is the lord of your sign in the 5th house of pregnancy, fertility, and children, and romantic love and windfalls in the sense of winning money, pennies from heaven. But when Jupiter's here, and you'll feel it this Thursday to next Thursday, there's this beginning of intensity around cutting, ending, and severing through conversations and talking. A committed romantic love story, not committed. I should clear that up. I don't mean like your marriage partner. Jupiter is in a dating house, right? Romantic dating, getting to know each other, falling in love. And he's been here since last year. He's now retrograding. He goes direct on March 11th. But the retrograde here in this context can mean someone from your past or even past lives. Jupiter is like romance. Juno is the commitment energy. The wife and husband are dueling across the 5-11 axis. Juno's in the house of friendships and social groups and allies. And Jupiter is like romantic affection, romance, falling in love, and sex. If you are in that situation where there is a romantic situation in your life building up or whatever, or happening or potentially happening, then this is like a Chironic connection to Ceres, like a Chironic wound to love and romance, but cut, end, and sever, scythe, sickle, change, right? End it. So you might be coming this week. It gets kind of intense. Like you start to feel it picking up speed energetically right away. This is a Wednesday chart. So already on Wednesday, it's activated through till next Thursday, Friday, the week after. And this could terminate, end a relationship, could terminate and end a relationship or a friendship. Your children, one of your children could be terminating a relationship in their life and letting you know. That's all. Hey, dad or mom, I'm breaking up with so-and-so. So it may not be your story, right? You could terminate anything to do with an entrepreneurial business agreements connected to career and business partners as well in this week into next week ahead. If you're not married to somebody and you're not full-time cohabitating, but you're romantically involved, there may be a conversation regarding termination of agreements with that person this week into the end of next week. Now, the good news this week is another story. You've got a beautiful, not seen since 1994, stellium in your 12th house of distant shores and lands, but enlightenment and full spiritual liberation, flowing beautifully to the Chironic wound in your house of your mouth, your nose, your face, your speech, right? Speech. Okay. And therefore, you're doing some profound healing regarding your voice, your speech, your teeth, your nose, your face, your dietary habits and styles and addictions. Profound healing is going on here. And as this flow is happening in this part of the sky, you've had a Chironic money wound since 2019. You might not have had enough money. You made no money. You had money. You didn't have money. You spent too much money. You just got a money wound on and off since 2019. And whatever that money wound is, a money wound wants to heal, right? And so there's a beautiful applied healing on Tuesday and Thursday, Friday, Venus and then Mercury, then Venus, flowing to this money wound here. Yet at the very same time, you're going to notice that that Hygeia is healing wounds to do with home, land, property, real estate, domicile, and where you live, including healing wounds that are childhood wounds and connections to wounds that are connected to past lives as well, and ancestral wounds as well. But again, it comes to the house of speech. And so there's some very important things you need to say. There may be some very important dietary changes as well to help heal your body and heal your health, especially with Saturn here. Lord Saturn is still with your body here at this beginning of this week. He doesn't leave until February 14th. So he's at the critical energetic degree of the Pisces rising for your body. Okay. And so there definitely is some desire to heal your body through dietary changes, including going off to a diet spa, a cleansing spa, doing a renunciation of foods and dietary habits and addictions that are bad for you. Big energies are there as well. Now, Mercury does rule your marriage house. And I just have to give you a heads up. Under this kind of sky, it's possible that you're also going to be dealing with some positive news connected to the health of a marriage type partner. So it's not your story. You know what? It's so funny, but you could clean your house this week. Literally, Hygeia in the house of the home connected to, you know, your chironic wound about possessions. Like it would be a purge, right? I'm going to like throw out all this junk in my home and I'm going to cleanse the home, you know, for spiritual Zen-like simplicity. Like this is a cleaning of the home. Could even clean your home office if you have one and really just purge your home this week ahead. Very like the joy book by that woman, you know, does it bring you joy? Something, the magical art of tidying up or something. What was her name, guys? You know the book, right? Marie Kondo? Is that her name? Anyway, you could be doing like a purging of the home to Zen like simplify, cleanse, and get rid of possessions. Okay. That's a purging week for some of you that brings ease, harmony, flow, and grace to your life and to your self-expression and to everything about you being you, especially if you work at home or you have a home office, like a total cleanse is going on here. Clean it up, guys. Clean it up. Zen your space. All right. That's what I got for you. All right. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss a thing. What I see now is something to do with the camera on my computer is creating a ring light effect. That's the shape of my screen. I didn't see that before. So I can record at night without a light. How interesting is that? That's brand new. How exciting. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in my next video. This is dropping on Monday, so Thursday will be dropping a video. I don't know what I'm covering yet. I might be doing a deep dive into Saturn's ingress. I probably will into Aries, which is happening on the 14th of the month. So stay tuned for that. We'll be talking about how that looks like as a pattern and cycle in your life, what to do if you're born with Saturn and Aries. That'll be a Saturn return energy. I don't have an outro for you today. Sometimes I do. I'll try to remind you in the beginning of every video if I have an outro so you can tune into my mystical, magical sharings about the spooky stuff of life. Take care, everybody. Thanks for being here. Bye-bye.
Lunatic astrology.